Don't you think by now that after all this time we would see some huge differences in some kind of ways between the cultures who just ate tons of pork and the ones that don't eat any? Like Germany. You know, looking into my ancestry goes largely back to Germanic peoples. And you look at you go to a German restaurant now, or just look at like what kind of foods are on the menu at any German restaurant. It's pork everywhere. Bacon and everything. I mean, that's how I grew up in the Midwest. Like, they couldn't resist putting some form of pork or bacon into almost everything. Potato salad. You name it. Gotta have some bacon in there. If you start dabbling with the Jewish world, that's immediately gone. No big deal. I was never a big ham guy. Hated pork chops, actually, as a kid. Not interested. Didn't care. Oh, yeah, you're offering me a gray steak? No, thanks. I'll take the red one. It just seems interesting, like, after this many thousands and thousands of years, you would think, like, the world would notice something like, well, maybe we should follow the example of Israel and the Muslims or something, because, like, they don't die. Well, how come they don't die? We always die. Well, we eat pork all the time, as the Germans might say. Or whoever, the Mexicans, whoever, people who eat tons of pork. How come the Jews and Muslims never die? But they do die. They do get old. They get feeble. And I don't know, I remember back in my davening days, it kind of dawning on me, man, all of this, like, if you took this as a big picture, it kind of feels like you're reading a manual of how to be clean and pure. So, like, if you're a farmer, you're raising your animals not to be your friends or your pets. You're raising them to be food, an energy source, and you want the cleanest, best, most prime final version right before their slaughter. You want them clean. You don't want them eating trash, eating other animals. You feed them the best stuff, so that they'll be clean for you to eat. And I remember thinking, it kind of sounds like Israel's being groomed to, like, be processed somehow. But I do think it's weird. I would think that you would notice some huge difference in, like, life expectancy, or there'd be something to notice about positive effects of avoiding all this pork. But I don't think you see it. There might be some short-term, maybe lower blood pressure, less because of the amount of sodium that's in it or something.
Hi, please give us your rewards number or order when you're ready.
Can I get 2 sausage, egg, and cheese muffins, please? But you don't see a big difference. How would that be? I find the little back and forth between the non-Jews and the Jews by way of the New Testament cleverly put in the mouth of a Jew named Jesus. Jesus says back to the Pharisees, don't be so concerned about, it's not what you put into your body that defiles you, it's what comes out. It's what comes out of the body. You could take that immediately as, waste, which is, is unclean, dangerous, or dangerous, unclean words. Nasty barbs of words that you throw at people, hurt people's feelings, knock people down, destroy their confidence, keep them in the dark, you name it. Lies. And tons of Jews eat pork. Nowadays, it's a joke. I'm sure at Shabbat, there's no pork on the table, of course. But when Adam Sandler's sponsored by Subway, I don't think they're all tuna sandwiches. He might have a spicy Italian mixed in there, a cold cut combo. But I could be wrong.
Have a good morning.
You too. It's weird how you build things up into hugely important things. Traumas will do that to a person. They'll accentuate and highlight and just put sparkles around something. Turn it into something that it wasn't. But in your mind, it becomes permanent. It takes on some kind of authority over your brain. But like doing something like taking on a dietary discipline because of religion or whatever, because you believe in something bigger than yourself, and so you get with the program, you follow the rules. Everyone's born as a baby on this outside external realm. You come out of a birthing mother and you just start putting things in your face. You grab and shove in your face in order to interpret and understand things. Fast forward, you get a little older and you start taking on more mental capabilities. You learn discipline, behaviors. This would correspond to the second phase of Gnostic ascension, I think you could say. You know, you have the most hedonistic, external, base animal type existence. And then you start to think a little bit. You start to learn, oh, there's rules to follow. You can do this, you can't do that. You have it in every culture, every system. From my experience, the Jewish world is heavily about this. And you learn a tremendous amount. And it's life-changing, and it will improve your behavior and your attitude in many, many ways. However, if you are predisposed to things like OCD, overthinking, perfectionism, no doubt because of childhood traumas, etch these things, these pathways in your neurological development, and left you predisposed to these things. Well, I'll tell you, you might think when you find something like Judaism that you found the answers to all your questions, all your prayers. You finally found the thing that you needed. Next thing you know, your OCD, your perfectionism, your judgmentalism could just be put on steroids. That's not to say that's Judaism's fault or what we have as the modern version of it, that it's its fault. It might be, but it might not be. It might just be like a perfect storm of a unstable, personality type who finds something that empowers them and speaks their language, frankly. Because it's going to govern pretty much your every movement, your every thought. It's going to be a lens for you to look through before you say or do anything. And some people might say that's literally robbing the individual of their own, autonomy and God-given abilities to be a free spirit in this plane. But anyway, you've got that second phase of Gnostic initiation or enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. The third is when you have gone from the original external baby, put things in my face phase to learning discipline, rules, how to behave, how to live, how to be social, legalistic things. The third is the most supernal and most spiritual, and this is where you become a heretic, because all those rules, all those details, all those necessary things to follow, hate to say it, but they fall away in a certain sense, because you're focusing on a new plane, a new place, a new level, and that's heresy to people who are still locked down and armed and defending that second phase of enlightenment, which is the development of the soul, or the psychic initiation in Gnostic terminology in English. But once you're going past that, you're entering into a different phase. Now you're realizing that there's no separation, there's no division between us. We're all just God looking through your eyes, through my eyes, through their eyes. And you see the pointlessness of all the bickering and arguing and all the division, all the purposeful division. Let's split our fingers like Spock. Let's emulate a cloven hoof. Let's talk about split hooves. And let's judge the shit out of people who don't get it. Fine. You could build a whole culture on that. You could live that way all your life. I don't know what the point is. I don't know where we're going. I mean, unless God's going to one day say, good boy, you're nice and clean so I can eat you now. That's obviously sounds insane. What's the point? What are we doing? If we're not striving towards unity and getting along and letting go of all the judgmentalness. Yeah, you got to judge sometimes. You don't go down a dark alley where there's some thugs hanging out unless you want to get yourself killed. You don't have to be an idiot. But some people need rules in order to not be an idiot. I get it. But if you want to, like, peer above, see what's on the other side of this legalistic, psychic, behavioral phase of our existence and peer into the spiritual, I'm going to recommend delving into Edgar Cayce. Fun stuff. He's always going in there. He's always tapping into that realm. Be a good person.